Hello, this is Saturday, April 25th, 2020. My name is Joel Goldies. I'm in Oak Park in Ventura, California, and this is my coronavirus diary. So I'm sitting right next to the trunk of a big tree. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But I'm on the bank of a creek, and this creek flows about a half a mile from my house. I've been coming down here for about 10 years. First with my daughters, we would build rope swings. Then I started to notice there was quite a bit of trash in the creek. So I started to pick that up, got up to about 200 bags of trash and stopped counting. And then I started to notice there were crayfish in the creek, and read about a project being done by the Mountains Restoration Trust, a nonprofit. They had received a grant to remove invasive crayfish from the next creek to the east, Medea Creek. So I hadn't realized that crayfish were invasive in this area. Turns out they come from the south. They're native to Louisiana. They reproduce very frequently in this moderate climate. So usually they reproduce once a year. Here they're reproducing at least 3 times a year. In about 3 years, I've removed more than 72,000 invasive crayfish from this creek. And they eat Pacific tree frogs, which are a native species here. They'll eat the tadpoles and the adult frogs when they dive down to the bottom to avoid a predator. And they also eat another native species here called the arroyo chub fish. Those fish eat mosquito larvae, so they're very useful for the area. So I've noticed a real resurgence in the population of tree frogs and fish, especially this year. Last spring I caught tadpoles in my traps and let those go. I'd never caught tadpoles before. There was kind of an exciting event happened here about a week ago. You can see this tree that I'm sitting next to. This is the trunk of it. Those are the roots behind it. It had fungal rot and fell over in the night. And here I'm going to flip the camera around. You might be able to see one of my dogs on the other bank. Oh, there's the other one. This is a huge tree. There's the creek. And one of the most interesting things for me is that this bee nest has been exposed. And so I've been watching these bees do their work. I don't know if you can see, they're completely covering some honeycomb that they've built there, and that honeycomb was white and visible when this happened 2 weeks ago, and now they've filled all those little chambers that they've built with pollen or honey. And so I've been checking on their progress every couple of days. It's been really interesting, and it smells amazing down here. When you get close, the smell of that warm honey is just unbelievable. So there's one buzzing around my head a little bit, so I'm going to move on into this tree and cross the creek. Oh, there's a bee just landed on my elbow, coming around the camera. Here we go. There's another bee nest. This one's a little persistent, so I'm going to move quickly. There's another bee nest right there. You might be able to see it on the top of the tree now. And here I'm crossing the creek on this log. There's my patient dogs waiting for me. That's Lucy down below and Augie. And then I can show you this. Here I've got a bucket in the shade here with a few invasive crayfish there. And I donate those to wildlife rehabilitation centers, and they feed them to raccoons who are rehabilitating. So I'm going to carry on. I got a couple more traps to empty, and I've been spending more time down here since the outbreak and the stay-at-home order. Our hiking trails have never been closed in this part of Oak Park, and I've always had access to the creek. So whereas I was coming down about every day for 45 minutes or so, I'm coming down a couple times a day, sometimes 3 times. So it's a great refuge. Thanks.